friend. This is Mai with Creative Vibes, and today I want to talk about the importance of having creative outlets as a music therapist. So if you've been following me for a while, you may have noticed there was about a 2 or 3 month period of silence on YouTube. And that's because there's been a lot of change in my life. So first, I finally paid off the remainder of my debt that I owed in order to finish up my master's degree. So I was able to re-enroll this semester. It took me over 4 years to finally pay it off. So I'm really excited to get started and finally finish up this degree. I literally only have to finish my thesis and advanced practicums, so I'm ready to just power on through. And I'm really excited. I have a really cool thesis topic, so I'm excited to share some of that with you later. And in more exciting news, I did my first community musical theater show in almost 10 years. But that leads me to the point of this video. I think it can be really difficult as a music therapist to maintain a degree of separation between work and play. For many of us, music is our passion, our coping mechanism, and how we express ourselves. But if part of our job is to create and engage in music every day, then what counts as play? There were times when I was in school or when I was working with other private practices when playing or engaging in music for fun always felt like it was for work. It always felt like I was using that time to improve my skills or to be a better music therapist or to further my music therapy career in some way. And then it's not as fun anymore. But then I would always feel terrible about not having fun because, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with wanting to be a better music therapist or a better musician? And what's wrong with wanting to further my career? I should want to practice and become a better music therapist because that's what I love. And if I love it, then it should always be fun, no matter what. But I wasn't having fun. And I really think that it's important to have fun. So many of us were first drawn to music because it's fun. I love music therapy because it's fun, and I strive every day to make my sessions fun and engaging for my clients. So there's a really interesting impasse that I think we come to as music therapists. How can we engage in the creative outlet that we love, music, without it feeling like we're still engaging in work? Can there be a distinction made between work and play for us? And so I was in this space where I didn't really engage in music outside of preparing for sessions for a while. And it even got to the point where I preferred silence over having any music playing in the background because it just felt distracting and I didn't feel like I could engage or focus with it playing in the background. But this year, something shifted for me. Probably because of the pandemic. Maybe it was finally getting some time off after I was feeling burnt out. Maybe it was finally getting into my groove as a business owner. Maybe it was finally being comfortable with my style as a music therapist. And I started craving more creative experiences for me. Not just for my business, not for my clients, but solely just for me. And that's when I decided I wanted to get back into theater again. And I want to talk a little bit about my background and my relationship with theater and embracing my creativity because it's always been pretty complicated. Especially with theater, it was something that I was really interested in, but never something that I ever really engaged in. Growing up, I was always really wanting to do shows, but my parents would always push me to do something that was more productive, and theater wasn't really something that they viewed as something that I could find success in. I even remember when I was around 12 years old and I was really obsessed with Broadway at that time, and I told my parents how one of my dreams was to be a Broadway star. And I was really surprised when my father laughed. And when he realized that I was serious, he asked me, he was like, do you seriously think that that's possible? Look on the stage right now, look at all the big stars. Do Do any of them look like you? People like you, people like me, aren't welcome in that space. And so I eventually gave up on that dream because at that time, he was right. You know, I didn't see anybody who looked like me up there, and who was I to think that I could be the person to break that barrier? So when I went to college for classical music and clarinet performance, I really thought that I had discovered the dream career path. How amazing was it that I would finally be able to incorporate all the things that I love, like performing and music, into one career path. But that was the first time that I encountered the question of work-play balance in my life, because when your grades, your career, even your social status is all centered around how well you can play your instrument, it's a lot of pressure. And at that point, something that had given me so much joy started to be the one thing that I hated the most. And that's kind of when I decided to switch over to music therapy, because I cherished the relationship that I had with music. And at that point, I identified so strongly with being a musician, and it was really the only thing that I felt I had at that time, that I personally needed some separation between being a musician and being a human being and my identity. So, and I think similarly to this, we can identify so strongly with being a music therapist or a creative that we forget the reasons why we turn to music in the first place. It can be really hard to utilize music for ourselves, as we have our whole lives prior to becoming a music therapist and utilizing it for others. And engaging in creative pursuits just solely for ourselves is one of the best ways to care for and love ourselves. And it doesn't even have to be just a music creative pursuit, right? It can be anything that you feel really creative in. So I do believe that there can be a distinction between work and play for us. And I've noticed that I feel so much more alive, and it's much more fun to be in sessions ever since I started doing other creative things. Some things like this channel have been put to the wayside, that's for sure. But you know, as they say, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, or something like that. So I really encourage all of you to take 5 minutes today and think about how you use music just for yourself. Like, just for yourself. And it's okay to be selfish in the pursuit of self-care. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time.